Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. I am Ruth Ellis, and I am part of the Teach for LA team. And I work with the Center for Collaborative Education in collaboration with our community colleges. So we have had some amazing sessions, and we are getting ready for this session, earning a child development permit. Now is the time. Yes, it is. So hello, I see some people introducing themselves in the chat. Thank you for introducing yourselves. So while you're doing that, I am going to introduce Miss Debra Keeler. She is with the commission, the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, and she is going to share with us information today on how you can earn your child development permit and the details on that. And we are so lucky to have somebody right from the source, the Commission on Teacher Credentialing in California. We need this information to come from the people that give us the credentials. And I want to just say how much I appreciate Debra being here. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Debra so she can maximize our time here today. Thank you so much for being here, Debra, and thank you everyone else for being here.
Thank you, Ruth. It's a pleasure to be here today and just to be amongst students as well as potential students and colleagues, and excited to be able to share with you a little bit about our child development permit. I say a little because it's just the top layer. There are so many aspects to the permit process, but my name is Debbie Keeler. I've been in early childhood education for 35 plus years. Been at every single level that there is to offer in early childhood, and also spent some time at the institutional level as a professor, and recently was at an LEA or a district for about 10 years running early childhood programs down in Orange County. And so I deeply understand the field and remember the days when I was taking my early childhood classes and getting my bachelor's degree and teaching in preschool. So it's just been a joyful journey. And really, I made that decision when I was a preschool teacher to continue in the field because I had the opportunity to go. I did go to the next layer, but I made that conscious decision to stay in early childhood education because I knew in my heart there would be great opportunity, and it's such a good work. So I just applaud you for being in the field or considering the field, and excited to share with you today. So let's get right into it in terms of the permit details here. So the child development permit matrix really serves as the foundational reference for ECE licensing requirements for subsidized programs, programs that are paid for by the state, and programs that are not paid for by the state, requirements and options for those programs. And the commission currently issues 6 levels of the child development permit: the assistant, associate, teacher, teacher level, master teacher, site supervisor, and program director. And later on, we're going to share a little bit about our current work with the permit structure. We're excited to take another peek at that and look at what kinds of revisions we want to make to the permit structure. So each permit level has its own set of insurance requirements that build on one level to the next, authorizing the holder to be able to serve in various capacities or job roles, both in licensed and subsidized childcare and development programs. And it's really a lattice and a ladder system, meaning individuals can go up to their permit level that they want to, stay at that job role, stay at that permit level, or they can use it as a ladder to make other choices and to move into different positions. So the early childhood permit matrix dates back to 1993, which is a long time ago. And it's not been updated since that time, other than adding the school age emphasis in 2002. So the child development permits are valid for 5 years. And they also have a renewal requirement of professional growth hours, 105 hours, with the exception of the associate teacher, where they do not, their renewal, they get a one-time renewal, good for 5 years, they can renew once, and then, but they have to actually move up to, or take an additional 15 units towards the teacher permit level to be renewed. The unit requirements for the child development permit are semester units, or quarter units, which are 2/3 of semester units, and they must be obtained from a regionally accredited institution. These are not professional growth units. They are units that are offered by institutions. And the early childhood development units cannot count towards the general education requirements, which we'll talk about in a minute. So the ECE core units that are required by the permit at the various option levels, which we'll discuss, are child growth and development, child, family, and community, and programs and curriculum. So individuals must complete a minimum of 3 semester units in each of those 3 content areas for various options. The general education units for the teacher level do include English, language arts, humanities, social science, math, science, and there's a minimum of 16 semester units that are required at that permit level. Courses must be degree applicable. The experience that some of the permit levels do require are a minimum of 3 hours a day in an ECE setting. Volunteer hours count towards the experience. Licensed family childcare counts as experience. And student teaching in TK and kindergarten is an acceptable supervised field experience in the ECE setting. So this is just a copy of a graph that the CDTC agency has put forth in relationship to the permit. So you may have seen this permit structure here. This is not put out by CTC, but this is a resource to kind of like look at what those options are. But we will talk about each one of these options. The PowerPoint, yes, we will definitely upload the PowerPoint, so you'll have an opportunity to have this information. So the assistant director is really that entry-level position, which is option 1, which is 6 units in ECE, and no days of experience are required. The other option is a regionally occupational program, ROP. That is an option for the assistant level, and again, that's 6 units in ECE. The associate teacher is the next ladder up, which is option 1, 12 units in ECE, minimum of 3 semester units in each of those 3 core areas that we discussed, 50 days of experience within the last 2 years of working with children. Option 2, no days of experience. An individual with a CDA credential would be able to get the associate teacher level. And the CDA credential equals 9 ECE units towards the teacher permit. So if an individual wants to go on, they would, it would count towards 9 ECE units. Now, those 9 ECE units are, it would be worth that towards the teacher level permit, but not necessarily would you get a transcript from the commission on that. So it's just, it's a value of those 9 units. The associate teacher renewal, the initial associate teacher permit is valid for 5 years, can renew one time only. Again, as I mentioned, must complete the additional 15 units towards a teacher level permit. Remedial units do not count towards renewal. They have to be verified transcripted units, and no extension if renewal requirements are not met. So for those that are, for instance, teaching in a supportive role, can continue to be in that supportive role. But if you are a teacher of record and you lose your permit, then you would not be able to continue in that particular role. So for the teacher level, option 1 is 24 units in ECE, including those 3 content areas, 16 general education units, 175 days of experience within the last 4 years. And then option 2, no days of experience, which is an associate's or higher in ECE or child development, with 3 units of supervised field experience in an ECE or child development setting. For master teacher, the next rung up, option 1 is 24 units in ECE, including the core units, 6 specialization units, 1 area focus study, 2 adult supervision units, and 16 general education units. 350 days of experience. For option 2, there are no days of experience required. A bachelor's degree or higher does have to be in ECE or child development. 12 units in ECE, any 12 units, 3 units in supervised field experience in that setting. And then student teaching in kindergarten will count towards that field experience. So the next sprung up is the site supervisor. This is option 1, which is an associate's or 60 units, including the following: 24 units in ECE, including core units, 6 units in administration, 2 in adult supervision, 16 general education units, and 350 days of experience, including 100 days of supervising. The site supervisor, option 2, is no days of experience. A bachelor's degree or higher does not have to be in ECE or child development. 12 units in ECE do not have to be core units. 3 units supervised field experience in an ECE child development setting. And student teaching in kindergarten will count towards the field experience, but needs an original letter on letterhead documenting the placement in kindergarten. Site supervisor, option 3. No days of experience, administrative credential. 12 units in ECE do not have to be core units. 3 units supervised field experience in an ECE or child development setting. Option 4, no days of experience, a valid multiple subject credential. 12 units in ECE do not have to be core units, and 3 units supervised field experience in an ECE or child development setting. And the highest level is option 1. A bachelor's degree or higher does not have to be in ECE or child development. 24 ECE units, including core units, 6 administration units, 2 adult supervision units, 1 year of site supervisor experience. And option 2 is an administrative credential. 12 ECE units do not have to be core units. 3 units supervised field experience in an ECE setting. Option 3 is no days of experience, a valid multiple subject credential, 12 units in ECE, does not have to be core units, 6 admin units, 3 units supervised field experience in an ECE or child development setting. And then option 4, no days of experience, a master's degree in early childhood or child or human development, and then no other master degrees will be accepted by the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. So we want to ask the question, who can work in a state-funded classroom, preschool classroom? Those who hold a child development permit, or those who hold the California credential, a California credential with additional requirements, as we discussed with some of the various options with that. So I'm going to pause for a minute because we went through a lot of information here, but I want to find out if there are any questions that you guys have so far on this, on the requirements for the permit. No questions? All right. Okay. So, all right. So let's talk about the CDP and the Master Plan for Early Learning and Care. How does this align with the permit moving forward? So that's a great question. As we are looking at the early childhood permit here, we are reminded that we want to be sure that our current work, remember I had talked about that this particular permit hasn't been renewed since 1993. So that has been quite a bit of time. And so the Master Plan for Early Learning and Care is a state document that came into existence in 2020. And that really determines where we want to go as a field for the state. And so we want to be sure that our permit work really aligns with that particular document and that we update the permit to ensure that alignment in that. So the transition to a competency-based system of preparation and licensure for the early childhood workforce with the advent of UPK, Universal Preschool, and TK, and the PK3 ECE Specialist Instruction Credential, which we heard from Bronwyn Kennedy yesterday in relationship to that. So the competency-based system means that we want to ensure that anyone that's working with young children, that we have defined for them that we have a set of goals or competencies that really align with what each of the professionals need to know, understand, and be able to do in the classroom and working with children, and preparation for their first day on the job. So our ECE workforce development should be consistent with a competency-based system of preparation and licensure and meet the challenging needs of early learning and care programs that may require or offer as an option that their workforce to hold a child development permit in there. So we realize that the changing needs of our field continuing, although young children don't change, but how we serve them has changed over time, and what the requirements are for that, and what we feel as professionals in the field, as well as the commission representing the state of California, that all children need support in basic areas. And so we want to have those goals for each of the teacher, that they understand what the level of competencies are and their ability to be able to be competent in their work as they enter into their job role. So as a result, we have actually expanded our work, and we are looking at that as a commission to really understand better what kinds of changes we can make to the permit to align with the state's current work. So we put together a work group and of 28 members, and we are looking at any kind of specific revisions or making recommendations to the commission on revisions to the permit structure. So we started in August, and we are excited about our work as we have been meeting together as a work group. And our last work group meeting, which is 8 full meetings, will be on June 12th. And we're excited about that work. And so part of what we're looking at as a work group are our essential questions that we want to be able to answer in conclusion of our work is question 1, how should the current permit structure be revised, updated, or modified to ensure that early childhood educators have the knowledge and skills needed to meet the developmental needs of children? And then question 2, how can the state best monitor and ensure quality in preparation of the EC workforce within the resources available? And then question 3, how should the TPEs be reorganized to align with a proposed new structure for the child development permit? So those are the 3 elements, really looking at the permit structure itself, looking at how we maintain quality and ensure that the preparation programs or the institutions across the state are consistent in terms of what is being offered to help prepare those entering into these job roles. And then how should our competencies, our teaching performance expectations be developed or ensure that they are reorganized to align with this new work with the master plan? All right. So in relationship to our public input, our work group meeting, like I indicated, our last one is virtual. It's June 12th. And once I finish here, I can go ahead and pop in that link to, if you'd like to join, if you'd like to listen in on the work group's work. It's really so fascinating and interesting. And so we definitely want to make that available to you if you'd like to do that as students. It's a great learning experience, honestly. And then also all CDP work group meetings are open to the public and have an opportunity for public comment. So we have opportunity during our work group meetings to hear from the public. We have separate breakout rooms for our public. And then that information goes back to our work group. We also have a Padlet that public members can make comments in. They can make comments in the chat, as well as we have an official public comment period at the very end of the meeting in that. So we value our public and what the public is wanting or interested in relationship to the work of the permit. Our work group members are professionals across the state. They've been fully vetted and they have deep experience in the field of early childhood education. And so we are honored to be able to work side by side with them to be able to offer the best options for those that are preparing to be teachers, assistants, as well as coaches, mentor teachers, and also site supervisors and program directors in our field. So that is really just a lot of information. I'm so sorry, we just kind of ran through that, but a lot of detail to the child development permits, but we are extremely excited. We have Renee Marshall, our administrator for the work here at the commission. She's here. Renee, did you want to give a hello and
thanks so
any
much, Deb. I
comments?
totally appreciate it. Hey, everybody, it's great to see you. I know some of us were on yesterday when we had our session about the PK3 credential. I hope everything's been going well for Teach for LA for everybody. Having the chance to be with Dr. Keeler today is always a good thing. Debbie is such a fantastic resource in the early childhood education space. And so she had mentioned the upcoming child development work group. And so I put that link in the chat for everybody, and I'm just thrilled to be here today. I'll make sure we put our email in there also for everybody. Debbie and I and our colleague Bronwyn, we have one email address that goes to all three of us, and so we're excited for you to be here today. If anybody has any Q&A questions, we're happy to answer any questions. I know Debbie will be getting off this webinar in probably about 10-15 minutes because she has a beautiful 6-year-old to go pick up from school today, but I'm happy to stay on if there's questions that go beyond our time together today. We are here as a resource for you, whether it's about the child development permit or anything related to becoming a teacher in California. We are here for you at the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. And so, Alondra, great question. I know Debbie's slides had a lot of good resources on them. We have already submitted our slides to the Teach for LA conference producers, and they are planning to send a link to everybody who attended the conference where you're going to get access to every single slide deck from the whole conference. So Alondra, you should be getting those soon. If by any chance you need them before they send them to you at Teach for LA, just shoot us a message on email and we can send you the slide deck, but you'll be getting all the conference, hopefully probably at the wrap of today or close to the wrap of today. So great question. Thank you for asking. Any other questions? Feel free to unmute if you guys have any questions or any comments that you want to make. I know Debbie's going to talk a little bit more about the resources that are available. And just so you know, everything on this last slide is all live links also. So when you get the slide deck, you'll be able to access everything. But we appreciate everybody being here. And like I said, we'll be here for some questions and answers if you guys have any. And if you don't have any on your top of your head today, do not worry. Our email's in the chat, and Debbie and I and Bronwyn are here to be a resource. So we appreciate you spending some time with us today. And I'll hand it back over to Debbie so she can share wrap up and resources with everybody.
Thanks, Renee. We do have many resources on our CTC webpage. As was mentioned before, we had a presentation yesterday on our PK3 credential. We have a link here that actually has a webpage fully dedicated to that credential. We also have our PK3 credential handbook. We also have an ECE webpage that actually is not on there, but we can go ahead and download that link that has information regarding our ECE general work. We also invite professionals in the field to subscribe to our ECE news that comes out monthly, and that gives updates to what we're doing here in the world of early childhood education with the Commission. And then also our professional services division that can be helpful. It's more it's institutionally based in terms of information, but it's quite fascinating in that. And then we also have a link to our Child Development Training Consortium stipend program, and our ECE email is right there. And we do have office hours, first Tuesday and third Tuesday of the month, where people can join in, ask questions. And that's a great resource if, for instance, you are continuing to pursue coursework and wanting to get at the permit level or credential level, and you have questions in relationship to that. We're here, we're live people. We can answer your questions or lead you to the right person, because sometimes the CTC can be a little bit intimidating, and also accessibility of getting to the right person can be a little bit challenging. So we will definitely help you navigate through those waters. We do have or host what we call our ECE Community Circle. And that is an event where ECE folks from across the state, we average about 100 that are on that call once a month. This registration link is a little bit dated. So we just had one yesterday, but we have coming one up in June, or one up in June. And so if you're interested in that, we can also put that information in the chat for you. And we just talk about the credential, we talk about permit, we talk about lots of things that are relevant to our field, early childhood field. So those are just some of the resources that we have available, but I just want you to be assured that each one of us have been where you are at some point in our career. And the amount of hope that we carried at that time is the same amount of hope that you carry today in all of the hopes and dreams you have for young children, and for being able to be in this field and enjoy the work that you're doing, and to be able to help move that work forward. It's available to you. And so we fully encourage you to embrace it, to move forward, and to stay in early childhood education. We need people like you that on the forefront and on the front lines that really care about young children, that do this work each and every day. And who knows throughout your career where you're going to be. And I don't think Renee or myself could have ever predicted that we would be where we are today when we were a teacher.
Debbie, I was planning to be a kindergarten teacher my whole career. I don't even have any idea how I ended up as a faculty member, as an administrator. But the great thing is I've always been under the umbrella of education. I had no idea how many jobs could be involved in my career, which I think is so cool. Deb, there was a couple questions in the chat. I'm going to start with the one from Jessica. What's the current cost of applying for an individual permit? Are there any organizations that assist candidates with the application process?
Yes, so there are a couple of organizations. So if you go to your local community college, they will give you the specifics on applying for a permit level. You can apply directly to the commission. There is a fee involved. I don't know off the top of my head what that currently is. It changes periodically. But so that is one option, directly through the commission, through your community college, through the CDTC, the consortium. They will apply on your behalf. There are stipends that you can get through your planning councils. Your child development planning council offer stipends for this. Your community colleges offer stipends for the permit levels, and CDC can also inform you of opportunities to get those fees taken care of in your application process. So those are great resources that I encourage you to step forward. And hopefully you have good contacts at your local community college. You can always call them up, you can always go visit. Anyone in the early childhood department area will lead you to the right person to be able to help you process and work through all of the documentation that you need for your permit.
I know, Debbie, when I was a professor at College of the Canyons, I was actually the Child Development Training Consortium. So the CDTC, I was that person on campus. And so you can also, everybody, if you are not sure who to speak to on your campus about getting a permit or Child Development Training Consortium, you could also send an email to us at ece@ctc.ca.gov. I had the opportunity of working in the community college system for 15 years of my career. And just so everybody who's on knows that in terms of early childhood education, the community college system trains about 80% of California's ECE workforce. So Debbie just put her email in chat. We have a general email that goes to Debbie, Bronwyn, and I. That one is ece@ctc.ca.gov. And we can absolutely help you if you need help finding that CDTC person on your campus. Also, just so you know, in the chat, I put the link for the Child Development Training Consortium. That's their website. If you are involved in the Child Development Training Consortium, you could be a community college student who is currently taking ECE classes. And if you are also working in the field and you apply for the CDTC program, then at the end of the semester, after you have successfully passed those early childhood courses, you will get a portion of your tuition paid back to you, depending on how much each campus affords. Each campus has a different allocation for that, but it's a really great opportunity. Debbie, we have another question too. What schools would you say have the best education programs? I think that's a hard one. Like that's when I have to take off my hat from the Commission on Teacher Credentialing and just become Renee Marshall for a couple minutes, because that's really, that's more of just opinion and kind of what you're looking for. But the one thing great in the state of California is we have options in terms of being trained in education. If you're looking at getting training in early childhood education or TK through 12 education, the community colleges does a fantastic job in that space. If you're looking at teacher credentialing and going up into more like upper division coursework, our CSU system, our UC system, and many of our private institutions in California offer training preparation in education and early childhood education. We're really very, very lucky in terms of, having different opportunities. Now, for me personally, there were certain elements of the training for teacher preparation that were important to me. I was really interested in focusing on kind of anti-racist training and more like inclusion training. So for me personally, I went to UC Santa Cruz to get my teacher preparation training, but that was because the school that I went to kind of had some of the emphasis that I wanted to go, that I was interested in. So just so everybody knows, look up the colleges you're looking towards or you're considering to see if they match with your philosophy. Google their early childhood program, Google, as much as you can in terms of information about that school to see if it's the right match for you. And also know that any school you're interested in going to should always have a person that's available to speak to you. If they don't have a person that can speak to you, that would be an indicator that maybe it might not be the best program for me, because you want to get that individual attention. So I know Deb has to go. I think, Debbie, are you officially off at this point? Because I know you got to pick up Sarah. I believe she is. So I am on if there's any other questions. I'm sorry to take it over from you, Debbie, too. So thank you so much for allowing me to do some Q&A with everybody. Now, anybody else who's got any questions or has any clarification that you'd want about the permit? I know Debbie shared with you that right now we have, oh, good. And thank you, Alondra. I'm glad that it was helpful. You want to find the program that's going to match you, and what's important to you. Now, if you are currently at one of the Los Angeles or considering, you might even be like a high school dual enrollment student. You might say to yourself, well, where would I want to go in Los Angeles? I can tell you for certain that the Los Angeles regional colleges, all of them have very good teacher preparation going on. If you look at Cerritos College, they've been involved in teacher preparation efforts in California for over 30 years. If you look at Rio Hondo College, which is the origin of Teach for LA, go to Leah Martinez. She's going to help you become a teacher. Maybe you're at Harbor, maybe you're at Pierce, maybe you're at Santa Monica. Guess what? I can tell you at every single one of those campuses, there are fantastic teacher preparation leads that can help you. Now, if you're on, and maybe you don't live in Southern California, also know that there are people across the state of California that will help you to become a teacher. So again, I'm going to put our email in the chat, ece@ctc.ca.gov. Please reach out to Debbie or myself or Bronwyn. We are happy to help you. And even if you need to just talk to somebody and kind of run some stuff through, we've all been educators, and we're all at different points of our training and our development, but we're here to support you. That's one of the nicest things about the field of education. We are a community, we are a family. And so we treat it that way. That's one of the reasons I've stayed in this field so long, because of the great people I get to work with. So does anybody else have any other questions or anything else you want to share?
Yes, I do
Yes.
have a question.
Yeah, Sophia.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, it's good to see you today.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. Okay, I went to my ACC because my community college, and I talked to Nancy about my permit and credential, but she said something that I have to be enrolled in the community college to do so, and I am done. I mean, I'm graduating this semester from CSU Dominguez Hills, so I don't know what to do now.
Oh, here's the great thing, Sophia. If you you get extra resources when you're at the community college and doing it that way, but you can absolutely apply directly to get your permit in child development or to upgrade your permit. So thank you. Let me go on, and I'm going to grab the website right now for you. So that way Child Development Training Consortium is here to help people, but it doesn't mean that you have to go through them. You know what I mean?
Because I'm done. I don't, even if I want to take some classes, I don't know what to take.
Oh, if you want to take classes, you can take any coursework that you'd like to at the different colleges. But one thing, honestly, it might be beneficial to sit and talk with somebody about what would be most strategic. You know what I
that'd be
mean?
great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be
perfect.
happy to sit down and have, you and I can talk for a couple minutes and see what's going to be right for you by all means. And, strategize because with you already getting your bachelor's degree, you
Yes.
might want to take some of your courses at a community college, but you also might want to look at some other options of
Yes.
what's available for you. So
Yes.
excellent. So why don't we plan that you and I set up a meeting where we can have a conversation? So that way, we can figure out what's going to work for you,
Okay, that would be great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, and Kimberly, if you're in the same boat, same thing, shoot me a message and we can absolutely meet. I'm also putting the link directly into the chat right now. This is a
Okay.
direct link for the child development permits from the Commission on Teacher Credentialing website. So that way you can apply there, you can, get more information there. But Sophia, I am happy to meet. Okay. We can just set
Thank
up a time in the
you.
next couple of weeks. Absolutely. And figure out what's going to be the best strategy for you. Because I've
Thank
known
you
you
so
for
much.
years. I know
I
we want you as a
appreciate-
teacher in California, girl. So whatever I can do to help, you know what I mean? We go
Yes.
back.
Yes, we do. Actually, it's been
I love it.
Since COVID. That
Since
was
COVID.
it was my entertainment. See, watching you guys.
Oh, I love it. Well, you know what? You've stayed with it. And that's what's so exciting to me, Sophia.
Yeah,
That
I
was part of
know.
it is could we get people to come into this field? So fantastic. Well, and you're in a really good time considering you just finished your bachelor's degree. You
Yes.
want to go on and get the PK3 credential, or, you've got a lot of options. So you and I will talk, and then we'll
Okay.
come up with a couple game plans for you. Okay.
Thank you so
Of
much.
course,
It was
of
nice
course.
seeing you again.
Good to
Thank
see you too, Sophia.
Bye-bye.
Take care. If anybody else has any other questions, please feel free to unmute. I'll go ahead and put that email in the chat again. If we can be a resource, we are here to help everybody,
Yes, I have a question.
Oh, yes, yes.
I got my associate teacher permit, and now I'm working to upgrade my permit. I got my bachelor's degree in a foreign country, so I need to get my foreign transcript evaluated first. And I think I will try to apply to upgrade my permits. I think maybe in September. So I'm not sure. Can I just proceed to get my transcript evaluated now, or wait until the time is near?
Suha, honestly, you'll be better shape if you get your transcript evaluated now. And there's a list on the commission website of the different places that you can go for international transcript evaluation. And then we could absolutely have a chance where you sit down and talk with somebody from our certification department. So that way we can see to make sure that you're lining up. So that way it's lining you up for what you need moving forward. And if there's any gaps, then we have somebody in certification department that could say, okay, here's what translated over, here's where the gap is, so here's how you fill it. So we have this wonderful colleague we work with named Nick Newman, and he's in our certification department. So we can absolutely set up a meeting with him once you have the transcript evaluation, and we can see where things are at, and he can help you to make a plan moving forward.
Oh, okay. That's great. And also,
Absolutely. Please know
I-
we want to encourage people from out of country and out of state to join the California workforce. So we're here to figure it out, okay?
okay, thank you. And I also interested in the PK3 program, and if I would like to enroll in this program, and I also need my foreign transcript evaluated. And which type of evaluation reports would I need for the application for PK3 program?
Well, you'll need the transcript evaluation, and then certification would like to show, like we'll show where you're at, and then we can help you in terms of if you need something before you apply for the PK3. Now, chances are if your bachelor's degree transfers over direct, then it would just be that you would then apply for the credential program, and then it would depend on which program that you applied for. As of last Thursday, we've had our first 3 PK3 programs approved in the state of California. So there will be one that's going to be at the San Diego County Office of Education. There will be another one at Fresno State, Cal State Fresno. And then the third one is at San Jose State. The first 3 programs that were approved will be at those locations, but there are more PK3 programs that are in the process of getting approved right now. So that list of 3 will expand over the summer and into fall. And so there'll be even more options.
Oh, okay, great.
Excellent, excellent, excellent.
But I'm not sure which report, evaluation report should I get? The detailed report, course by course,
I would get
is
as much
sufficient?
detail. Yeah, I would get as much detail as possible, because if there's any question, the more detail certification has, the more likely they're able to come up with a solution. Whereas if they didn't have as much information, then they would need you to go back and get additional information. So I would say from the beginning, the more information you can get, the better, because it'll make it easier for the process. Also, a couple people have asked for the email directly to certification, and the way that it works is they give you like a generic email. So it will be better for you to email me directly at the ECE email saying that you have your transcripts and we need to meet with certification, and then we can send your email directly to the person who specializes in early childhood and K through 12. And so, so those who asked in the chat about transcript evaluation, please email the email I put in there, and then we will get you going in the right direction.
All
And
right.
also, excellent, excellent, excellent. Also, I did get one private chat that somebody wants to know a little bit more about PK3. Same thing, shoot me an email. We are here to be a resource, everybody. We are happy to help in any way.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Any other questions while we're on today? Okay, well, I know it's been a long one. You guys have done such a great job being at Teach for LA. I hope it's been good so far. Can't believe it's almost time for the conference to wind down. It's just crazy. So make sure when they get to the end and they do the evaluation, you guys, please make sure to do the evaluation, because that's how conferences get to continue, is when we find that when they're able to show, here's the value of it, and then they can get groups to say, hey, let's keep it going. So thank you so much for being here today. Special thanks to Dr. Debbie Keeler for leading this session. And thank you so much for allowing me to be part of the Q&A today, everybody. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and please do not hesitate to reach out to us at the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. We are here for you. We are here in partnership and solidarity. And you know, so many of us have been educators that we just want to help the next generation of educators. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon, and look forward to seeing you again in the future. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.